Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle celebrity talk show series. Hope you guys are doing well. We've got a very special guest joining us right now. It is the incomparable Donna Pescow. Yes, iconic film, television actress, and director extraordinaire. Joining us here live on the Jim Masters Show live. We're so excited about it. Of course, you know her from iconic series and movies and so much more. You see some of the names on the screen there. Saturday Night Fever, Angie, Out of This World, and lots more. She is here. She's in green. She's wearing this green blouse. She must have got the memo that green is my favorite color. So she looks like $1,000,000 in this gorgeous green. Bringing her on in just a second. But first, I want to take you down memory lane just a little bit. Of course, you remember her in Saturday Night Fever. Of course, she is originally from New York, and we're very excited to have her here. Fellow New Yorkers here in tandem. Very exciting. She was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and from an early age, she knew she was destined to be an entertainer. And as a child, she would go to work with her beloved grandfather on Saturdays. He was a movie projectionist, the legendary RKO Albee, and she'd sit in the production booth all day and watch movies through the little window overlooking the theater, transfixed by the story and people on the screen. And when she first saw her first Broadway show on her 13th birthday, it all fell into place. And she knew she had to be part of that magical world, and it made up her mind to be an actor. And then she, of course, went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. We'll talk about all of that. We don't want to give it all away now, but you remember the photo that's on your screen there. Of course, that is from Saturday Night Fever when she starred with John Travolta. She was Annette. Yeah, and she tried to get the attention of John so many times in that iconic 1977 film. Look at these amazing pictures we have here. And of course, in addition to Saturday Night Fever, which is an iconic American movie, she went on to Angie, which was a beloved series on ABC. And there's a connection with Gary Marshall, the legendary television producer and creator of some of your favorite TV series, who sort of enticed her to get out to California and get involved with this fabulous series of her own with an amazing cast, of course, Robert Hayes and Doris Roberts and Deborah Lee and so many incredible people that she had an opportunity to work with. Do you remember as far back as when she was on All My Children? Do you remember the episode where she was on Fantasy Island? She sure was. Absolutely. Do you remember when she was on The Love Boat? A couple of times on The Love Boat as well. She graced our screens on several of the game shows, including Match Game over the years, of course, with Gene Rayburn. Iconic series. And look at this. You remember this too, Human Feelings. She graced the covers of many magazines and many of the TV guides as well over the years. Of course, Even Stevens. You see the great first person in the middle there, you know, LeVar Fright, Shia is right there. And another great shot. In addition to all of this, she was also, even further back, Rainbow, the Judy Garland story. She was in that as well, which was something very, very special. She was also in the series, remember this one too, Out of This World, which was through Disney. That was really, really popular as well. There she is in that series. Again, she has graced our television screens, the stages, and movie screens for decades with her incredible, effervescent personality. There she is playing Priscilla in New Girl. And she was also Dr. Sharon Finkel, The Flash. That was really a terrific performance. She was in Ivory Tower and Policewoman Centerfold and so many, Holiday Road Trip, and even Welcome to Chippendales, which was more recent. She's been on episodes of NYPD Blue. She was also in this as well, Body of Proof. Just a few of the incredible productions. And there she is in Operation Cupcake on the Hallmark Channel. I know there's a lot of Hallmark viewers out there who love Hallmark. She was in The Sopranos, an episode of Grey's Anatomy as well, and the holiday movie, Carol of the Bells, a John Travolta movie. And that is just the short list, folks. just a short list of some of the amazing things that she's been a part of that we've had an opportunity to enjoy over the years. As I mentioned, she has had an opportunity to go to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts right after high school, and she was accepted and awarded a scholarship to study there. And shortly after that, she was cast in a tour of Eugene O'Neill's Wilderness, starring Richard Kiley, Barbara Bel Geddes, and Sam Bottoms, directed by George Schaefer. When the tour's over, she continued her studies with Lee Strasberg while performing in New York. Within a few months, an audition for the iconic film Saturday Night Fever came her way. Pretty cool story, right? And she tells it beautifully. So I won't tell anymore. We will just take a moment to welcome her to the Jim Masters Show live now. It's an honor and a pleasure. Take a look at that cool green she's wearing. Donna, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here. And those pictures were great. I haven't seen so many of those. And I don't know how you found them. They're great.
I do. We do our research. We do our homework here. It's kind of like Ralph Edwards' This Is Your Life a little bit when you look back at it, right? Thanks for wearing the green, too. My favorite color. I love that.
I'm so glad. That was just a beautiful coincidence.
It really, really was. I guess we're intuitive here.
Yes.
It's so beautiful to have you here. We know you're very busy and you're on the road right now, too. So taking a moment or two to join us, and all the viewers who are commenting around the world, we welcome you. They welcome you as well. When you look back, that wonderful story I mentioned about you growing up in New York, and of course, New York, you have access to Broadway and all the shows and just so much culture and the arts, which is a beautiful thing. And I grew up further out east on Long Island, so I'm familiar with all of the exposure to the arts. Was it early on through your grandfather's influence that sort of sparked that inspiration for you to want to go into the arts and entertainment, Donna?
I think so. In a funny way. I think I was always a hammy kid, and I doubt very much that anybody expected me to go into medicine or something very serious. But my grandfather was a part of this RKO Albee Theater in Brooklyn. And it was just this magnificent, gorgeous, old style marble staircase, grand theater. And he worked there from the time it was a vaudeville house, and then switched over to learn how to be a projectionist when that all came into play. And he was really funny, and he just loved the theater and film, and would teach me bits from vaudeville when I was a kid. I was the only 8-year-old who was doing Who's on First,
Abbott Costello.
So I think it was really kind of just this lovely kind of vibe. And my whole family, was totally fine with it. A lot of people worked behind the scenes, editors and stagehands and just general wonderful crew work. And I think it was just, totally natural for me to find my way into that.
When you were growing up in the city, were you watching a lot of the shows? Did you get a chance to go with the family into Manhattan to see Broadway shows and to the stage?
Yeah, I think, I saw my first Broadway show. I was about 13. I think it was for my 13th birthday. And I saw Funny Girl, and that was kind of it for me. But I had always known it was going to be some form of entertainment. I sang a lot when I sang at Gil Hodges Bowling Alley in Brooklyn on League Night, which can only be described as a bad dream. But no, they had like open mic nights and things. And I lied about my age because there was a bar there. I think I was about 16. So I was kind of always after, showbiz in some form or another. And I think as I got a little bit older, I got, more serious about exactly where and how I wanted to proceed to have a career.
Did your father own and run a newsstand in Manhattan?
It's so funny that he's not my dad. He was my best friend's dad. And he did own a newsstand. And my folks were divorced when I was, I don't know, 6 or 7. And my grandpa was like my surrogate dad. We moved back to New York and moved in with them. So he was my surrogate dad. But then I had this friend, Kathy, who she and I became like sisters, best friends. And so I started calling her dad at a very early age, because he used to say to me, I'm like your dad too, and all. So there was a picture, I think it might have been one of my first resume shots, that I signed to him and wrote, Dear Dad, I love you, Donna. And he hung it up in the newsstand. And so for years, people thought he was my dad. And I would say, well, in a way he was, because he was such an important part of my life. So not my natural dad, but my dad by heart.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. When you have surrounded by people that really care, there's nothing better. You, of course, you went to Sheepshead Bay High School in Brooklyn and studied American Academy of Dramatic Arts, all the different arts that they offered, which is extraordinary. What was it like attending that academy, such a prestigious school that it is?
It was extraordinary. This school is, I think, probably 120 years old now. And they have just an unbelievable curriculum. It's a full-time program. I went directly from high school. So I was really young and really inexperienced. And they were very, very nurturing, but they had this phenomenal faculty that really knew how to teach and really knew how to inspire. And I just fell madly in love with all aspects of theater, not just contemporary theater, but Shakespeare and classics theater. And just, they had a very full, and they still do have a very full program to teach you all the elements of the arts and all the elements of variations on how one would perform a contemporary play versus a Shakespearean play. And it was just a glorious time for me.
And the experience that you garnered and gathered, the richness of that experience follows you the rest of your life, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. And
then wasn't it around 73 or so that you had a leading role in an off-Broadway musical entitled Poor Old Fool for a little bit?
My gosh, you really did do your homework. I think that was it 70? Well, let's see. It might have been 73, 74. It was an off-Broadway show, and the Academy poo-poos you working professionally while you're studying. So I kind of did it, under the grid. I didn't really let anybody know that I was doing it, and it was not the greatest. It was all right. It was an experience. It was not something that I think would have ever gone to Broadway, but it was a good sort of opening act for me to see what it was like to work in the theater.
I mentioned in the introduction too, and again, I just really scratched the surface of your extraordinary contributions to film and television and stage and just all of it, true Americana.
Incredibly lucky. You can have talent and you can have all the ambition, but luck does play a part of it. And I'm so grateful for the opportunities I've had, because there are a lot of people out there who just don't get the opportunities. And, you have to know how special that is.
You've always had, you've played wonderful dramatic roles too, but you've always had this wit, this quick comedic timing. And I love that. And I think part of it maybe is in the water in New York too. Where do you think it comes from when you look back at it? Because just in normal conversations, you'll throw out something witty or dry with a deadpan face that is so spectacular. I've seen it in conversations, and I love that stuff.
I think it's just part of your DNA. I don't think that it's something you plan or you can. It's really just part of your makeup. It's part of who you are. And I used to say to people, my best teacher in comedy in many ways was Bugs Bunny. Mel Blanc, who did all those Looney Tune voices, had timing that was extraordinary. And I used to, as a little kid, watch this and just laugh my tush off, because I just loved the way the comedic timing went with all those cartoons. And I think I picked some of that up, actually.
Did you do any voices in the early years? Did you try to,
It's a really incredible, great area. And I'm just now at this point in my life thinking, I would love to do that. And so I'm just sort of exploring it. And it's just a completely different world. And it's magical. It's just amazing.
Well, now you can go into animation and video games and so many people.
Whoever's listening, I'm call Jim. He'll tell you how to hook it up.
We'll connect you to Donna, and she'll be on the next video game.
Yeah, there you go.
And you've had so many wonderful opportunities. Shortly after the graduation, I mentioned that you were cast in a tour of Eugene O'Neill's Wilderness. What was that like?
Amazing. I was just graduating. I was a senior, and they have at the Academy, they have a production year. And so they have a lot of people come in, professionals, directors, producers, whatever, come in. And I don't know who it was exactly who saw some play I was doing, and luckily enough, recommended me, and I auditioned for this part in this incredibly amazing production. And I got it, and I literally went right pretty much from graduation into rehearsal. So again, just beyond lucky, and working in my first big production with Richard Kiley and Barbara Bell Geddes, and I mean, it was just Sam Bottoms and Scott McKay. It was this incredible company, and George Schaefer directed, and George was, a legendary director in his own right. So it was just top notch all around. And I think for the first probably couple of weeks, I was so sort of tongue-tied to be in the company of these people, let alone working with them, and they were all so great and friendly and welcoming. It just became this incredible experience.
That's really great. And early on too, like that, to have the exposure of working with other major talents, as you described.
Mm-hmm.
And then when that tour was over, you continued your studies with Lee Strasberg while performing in New York. And within a few months of that, all of a sudden they ring you up and say, hey, opportunity to audition for a film called Saturday Night Fever. What was that like, having that happen, and how did that happen? And when you found out about it, was it something that you were immediately interested in, or did you have to think about it? Did you have to phone home? Or
phone home? Yeah, that's funny. At that point in my career, I was, auditioning for things in little, small parts and all. And I had very little experience in film. And the agent I had at the time was so smart and said, yeah, this is a little nothing movie, a little nothing part. Here's a couple of pages. They sent these sides over, and take a look at it. And I thought, I went to this audition, and while I was at the Academy, I didn't know it was this major film or this wonderful role. All I knew is that it was, this girl who was from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and it was like 2 or 3 pages of dialogue that was, for the most part, not really telling of what was going on. And they wanted improvisation as well. But the funny thing is, when I went in there, the casting director said, "Aren't you from Brooklyn?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "You don't sound like you come from Brooklyn." And at that time, when I went to the academy, they were very much into you learning how to lose a regional accent. And so you had speech class, and they wanted you to have this standard American speech, which sounded like you came from nowhere. And they drilled it into your head that you would never work if you sounded like you came from some rural area or some New York area or some Texas, if you had a really strong regional accent. So Shirley Rich, who was the casting director, and that was this, again, incredibly knowledgeable, well-respected, legendary casting director. And she said, can you bring your Brooklyn accent back? And I kept habitually correcting myself. And she said, go home and stay with your family for a while. And then I'm going to call you back in and get that Brooklyn accent back. And of course, I called my mom. She said, sure, come over. You'll have coffee. We'll sit, we'll talk, and so I had to literally get the accent back in order to go to the next step of meeting with the director and all of that.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the audition. What was that like?
Again,
was it you and a million other
there were
people?
You mean in competition for the role?
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. I was so green. I had no idea what any of this was about, other than I didn't know why they kept calling me back for this little role in this little movie, because nobody told me. I never saw a script. I just saw these little pages. And a lot of it was improvised, and they changed directors midway through. I think I had 3 auditions with John Avildsen, who was supposed to do it originally. And then when John Badham came in, and there's a little gap of time in between, I auditioned for him. And I was so confused about this. I thought this was just the norm, and when I got the role, I was thrilled. I had no idea what the role was until I read the script, and then literally almost had a heart attack. Yeah. I was reading this thinking, what? This is not a little role. This is a
key role. And had film been on your radar, a movie career? Was that something when you were at the academy or graduating? Was that something, or was stage, television? Or were you still figuring it all out when that audition opportunity came?
It was just what came along. I just wanted to act, and theater was my home place, and I trained that way. And all of the teachers that I had, they would say, if you're doing a play, is going to be broader in terms of how you perform it than, say, more of an intimate work on camera. So, for the most part, you just learn how to do the work and then apply it to whatever the work is, camera or stage or.
When did you hear that you got the role?
I think it was so crazy. It was like a Friday night, and I started work on a Tuesday. It was just fast, really fast. And the blessing here was I had no idea, I think the first time I was in front of the camera, I started to walk somewhere off camera, like I was just acting. And they said, no, Scott, you can't, you can't just walk. This is your mark, and you need to stay here. And this is your little area that you can move around in, but you can't, it's not a stage. You can't, so I really didn't have any background, but what I did know was how to play a role. And I had a brilliant director. John Badham was incredible. And John Travolta set the tone for this film in a way that was so incredible. He just wanted everybody to feel comfortable and feel equal. And the whole vibe, it was, a dark situation, but the set was very happy. Everyone was very happy to be there and was working together to make a great film.
How long did it take
vibe.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long did it take to from when they started rolling cameras for it to be finished? How long did the process take?
I think it was probably about a 3-month shoot, give or take a week or two. But yeah, and we shot the film for the most part backwards. The dancing was the last part of the movie to be filmed because we were all in rehearsal,
right,
for as long as we could be to get all that right.
And didn't you have to go with some of the other folks and sort of go to the club and scout it out and see the dancers and see what they're doing? And did you have to take dance lessons? How'd that work for you?
Well, again, one of the things John Badham did that was, such genius was that he rehearsed for 2 weeks, I think, before we started filming. So we all started to feel very comfortable with one another. We had comfortable with the material. If there was some improvisation, it became a part of it. And we all decided, well, the cast, John couldn't go, he was too recognizable. But a lot of the gang and myself, we decided to go to the club, because that was an actual club, to just kind of take it in. And we just went, on I guess Friday or Saturday night, and stuck out like sore thumbs. We just were so obviously not a part of the group of people that went there, by the way we dressed or the way, it was not this this particular vibe that they had in that club, and they dressed a certain way, they acted a certain way, and it was great for us because it really gave us a reality that this was serious business. I mean, it was fun for them, but they took this very seriously. Dancing was not just this cute little hobby. They worked their tails off to make this good. And
so
they
were territorial too, right? In certain areas. Yeah.
Yeah, we were not, they didn't know we were making a movie, and they didn't know we were there because we wanted to do. We were just strangers who walked in. And so there was this kind of, attitude of who are they and what do they want and why are they here? And, it wasn't like, oh, let's go have, bite to eat. It was kind of like, where are you parked? Go back to your car, so, but it was helpful and it was great. And of course, when we did the film and we met a lot of the people from the neighborhood and people that did frequent the dance club, they couldn't have been greater. They were wonderful and helpful and just, terrific.
Did you have any inclination, and did John Travolta or anybody involved with that film, that it would be what it turned out to be, the cult following? And of course, it was accompanied by, it was matching the times. It was mirroring the times perfectly. And then you add in the Bee Gees music underneath, wrapping up the package with a bow. It really was extraordinary from top to bottom. Not even a thought that maybe they were onto something that's going to be big here, huh?
I think, generally speaking, for myself and for the actors who were, again, and a lot of us, this was a first time in film. We were just so thrilled to be working, and we were very proud of the work that we were doing and loved the movie. I loved the script and loved but never really thought about what will happen if. We were just saying, oh, wouldn't it be great if we all, if this was successful, we'd get another job quicker, or, we'd get better roles, that we could audition for or whatever. And I think even Paramount and the producers and the director, nobody could ever imagine this becoming this extraordinary success and lightning in a bottle, and suddenly the whole world was loving this film and disco and the story behind it and all. And Robert Stigwood, who produced this film, he managed the Bee Gees. So there was this other part of it where he wanted the music to be successful as well. And I think perhaps he thought even it was more important for the music to do well than the film. And somewhere along the line, someone said, "This is really good. This is going to be a bigger movie than we think." Not us, but the producers and studio and all.
What are some moments from filming with everybody that maybe stand out, like favorite parts for you of the actual process of the film making that are still fond memories for you, Donna?
Wow. That's a great question. And it's a hard question because there were so many, if you look at the material and if you look at the film and how it still resonates with people now, I think that's extraordinary. And people felt, you used the word territorial earlier, and people feel territorial about this film, especially people who lived through this era. And for me, I was just having the best time working with the best people. And, there was a lot of fun involved, along with, some of the things you had to explore in a darker area. But it taught me about really a community of filmmakers working on a project and making that the most important thing, and how that whole thing works from start to finish. And I know it's such a cliche to say we became a family, but it really was an extraordinary experience in terms of everybody really wanting this to be special and to be right and to touch people. And again, I think I have to say, John Travolta, his whole heart was in this, and it was contagious, and everybody really just poured their heart and soul into making this film. And in turn, it was great fun to do it, so I guess my best memories are like the between the shots, us just all hanging out and talking and laughing and having a wonderful time. But also, the exploration of the people that we were playing.
Which again was so representative of the times in such an extraordinary way. I think so many people identified with it, literally around the world too. This wasn't just, it was an American production, but it was globally revered and accepted. And it's looked at, people use that as a reference point as it captured the time in such an extraordinary way. I remember we saw it. We were there. We saw it in the theaters in New York on Long Island. So we felt that energy of the audience, the New York crowd that was watching it. And it was really, it was palpable. It was really palpable.
It absolutely. And I always say it's almost like the music was a character in the movie, because the music was so good. If you separate the music from the film, you still have great music and you still have a great film. When you put them together, it's magical. It's an unusual situation.
When you see it, re-airing on television, or perhaps you hear the Bee Gees soundtrack on the radio, do you get a little tingle?
I do. There's this little part of me that, it's like, a reunion in a weird way, where it takes you back to that moment. And I just, I'm so proud to be a part of that. It's really a part of my heart and soul.
So many people felt for Annette as well, really felt for that character, especially, which was a very riveting moment when you were I believe you guys were walking on the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, right? And that goes to Staten Island, and just the epic shots in the nighttime and the cars going by, and there is the open water and everything. What was that like? And it required, you were incredibly convincing, and it was riveting, and it sticks with you, and you were pouring so much of yourself in, and it was very emotional. When you saw that was in the script and that's what was going to be happening, what was that like for you? And again, an iconic scene on a major bridge in New York.
So much of what was in the script was, it was like the foundation of what was ultimately the scene. I think it kept changing, and it kept sort of getting more, I'm going to say intense, maybe, as the rehearsals, things would happen where you'd say this would be an interesting thing, or not, like the director, rather, that particular scene was not graphically in the script. The general idea of it was in the script. And it was, it was pretty intense to play. But this character, everybody knew somebody like her.
I was going to say, did you base it on people that you knew?
Everybody went to school with someone like her. Everybody knew someone like her, whether it was in their family. It's almost like the girl who, she's kind of driven to have this idea of what she wants, but she's very naive, and she's, sort of swept up in whatever peer pressure is going on. And she's just so over her head in what she gets somehow put into. But she just, tries to make it work or whatever until it doesn't.
Right.
And that was kind of where, I feel like Annette was very identifiable to people, because there were elements of Annette that we all have, obviously. But, she kind of was never really a victim. She was she kept trying until it just became bigger than her. And
were you protective of her? Did you feel protective of her and her plight?
Yeah, I guess I did. But I also think that everyone, like the director and the producers, they had a specific feeling about her. And I think it was a collaborative effort to bring her to life. And I think they did ultimately become protective of her. And as an actor, they were protective of me playing those scenes. And they were very sensitive to what emotionally goes on. And so, there were times that they kept a very small closed set to make me more comfortable. There were times that, there'd be conversation about, are you okay with this? And if we go here, are you going to be okay with that? And again, it was never something that was forced on me or felt wrong for the character. It was, difficult stuff, but it was right for the film and right for this particular girl to go through.
And that iconic performance that people still feel connected to. Matter of fact, to this day, people hold that character of Annette and your portrayal of her so close to their hearts. And you were one of 3 nominated for Best Supporting Actress by the New York Film Critics Circle as well. And the success of being in this film, which took on this cult-like following and life of its own, then brought you to Hollywood and an introduction to the one and only master of television creation, not Aaron Spelling, but Gary Marshall. And what was that like in that opportunity?
Oh my gosh. Well, both great men, and I've had the honor to work with both of them. But Gary, my gosh, I mean, where do you even start? This guy, you know, you want him to be your friend, you want him to be your uncle, your brother, whatever you can get, you'll take. You know, was such a genius in his craft, and he was such a unbelievably wonderful, sweet, generous, caring human being. So you put that combo together, how do you not want to be there? He was, you know, you might have heard this story, I've told a couple of times, but Gary pitching a show to you is a little bit like heaven, because he had this office that looked like a giant candy store, along with just all sorts of memorabilia. It was just, you walked in there and you felt great. You don't know why, you just did. And I'll do my Gary Marshall imitation. It's not great, but and he'd say, so this character, you know, she's a girl from the poor side of town, and she's going to meet the rich guy, and it's like going to be Cinderella. And then, you know, things will happen. She'll have a maid, and the maid gives her clues on how to talk to rich people and do these things. And there's a dinner party, and the maid will say, you give them little presents, little party favors. And Angie forgets. So as they're leaving, she gives them all $5. And she says, please buy yourself something from me, because I didn't have time to get the. So he's, you know, I'm listening.
Donna, that was fantastic.
Fantastic. So, but, you know, he was such a mensch. I mean, I don't know how, you know, and just plus a genius. So of course I'm going to say yes. And it was just, you know, one of the best experiences of my life.
And to have, I mean, of course, people know Laverne and Shirley, Happy Days, and so many other shows he's responsible for. And we've had actually some of those. We've had Marion Ross and Anson Williams and Donnie Most. They've stopped by as guests on our show and talked about working with Gary and what it was like and how extraordinary. And to then have this opportunity for him and his team to create a show wrapped around you, a character and a show wrapped around you called Angie, which was another fantastic series on ABC. Everybody remembers it. There's Robert Hayes, and an amazing cast put together that you have, of course, the famous Doris Roberts and just Deborah Lee. What was that like? Were you pinching yourself when Gary Marshall said, I have an idea to create a show with you as the lead character on television?
Pinching myself, absolutely. That's perfect. Yeah. I just, you know, it was sort of an amazing time, because there wasn't streaming, and there wasn't as much out there. There wasn't internet yet. So there were 3 networks, and then some other, you know, obvious, you know, TV networks, but all of the main really big shows were on either ABC, CBS, or NBC. And then I think Fox was starting at that time to do scripted. But most of the shows that were on the air that were giant hits were Gary's shows. And at that time, we shot this at Paramount. And I used to say it was like sitcom college, because Laverne and Shirley and Mork and Mindy and Taxi and Happy Days, all these shows was like one soundstage after another. I mean, what an environment that was. What a time that was. It was incredible.
And when you saw the script and the premise and the idea for Angie, was it something that you identified with, something that you liked right away? I mean, you played the role to a T. And then again, here we come with more great music, the theme song sung by Maureen McGovern. And that song you've heard on the radio, and you think of the series.
Yeah, yeah. Charlie Fox wrote that.
Charlie Fox, another
and
who.
Maureen McGovern had a giant hit with it. It was
Yes.
great, perfect.
Right. And everybody thinks of you when they hear it, and they think of Angie. And then we had this opportunity to work with Robert and, of course, Doris. And I mean, some really fabulous people. It was perfectly cast. You all played off each other beautifully.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And if I have my information, you still stay in contact with Robert. And I think are you each other's godparents of each other's children?
Yeah, Bob is like my brother. He's been in my life ever since that show. And, you know, we just, you know, love each other's families and each other. And it's just become, you know, a very big part of our lives. And when my son was, you know, born, Bob is his godfather. And when his son was born, I'm his godmother. And, but it just was like this natural thing. And I just adore him. We still talk all the time. He's living, you know, in Hawaii, having a wonderful time. And Doris Roberts, you know, she and I stayed good friends until she passed. You know, again, you sometimes you're lucky enough not just to work with incredible, John Randolph in that picture. You make friends for lives. They become a part of your life.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. What was it like on set? What was it like doing the series itself? And, you know, the response was terrific from people.
It was so much fun. It was just so much fun. And again, it was one of those shows that had a lot of laughs, but also had some pathos and had, you know, some moments that were very, very sweet and dear. And I think it you know, it was a weird thing. It was a very popular show when it was canceled. And I think part of the reason that happened was because they kept shifting producers and it was, you know, Gary had gone off to do film, and rightly so. And I think, you know, the show, you know, kind of fell through the cracks a little bit in terms of it being, you know, in the forefront. But it was very popular, and people still, you know, to this day always say to me, why was it canceled, you know, after 2 seasons? And I have no answers, but I was, you know, sure happy to have the 2. So that's.
Which surprises people because it has a feeling like it was on longer than that, just because of the following, like you say, the popularity that it had. And
I think the problem also was they kept trying to figure out what time slot, so they would take us off, put us on, take us off, put us on.
Shifted around, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, and then we were all kind of surprised when it was canceled. But you know, that's kind of the luck of the draw.
Still a great series that's fondly thought of, and you were a lead in it. And like you mentioned, also having an opportunity to be a part of Aaron Spelling productions as well, including the beloved Love Boat. I don't think there wasn't anybody of that time who was not on that series. Of course, the theme, Charlie Fox. And what was it like being on the Love Boat?
That was like a sort of a combo of work and a vacation at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it was such a lovely group of people, and everyone was so sweet and friendly. And of course, Aaron, you know, was a wonderful producer and always made, you know, it a great experience. And I just adored it. I did a bunch of them. And I was living in New York on and off, and I'd fly in to do a Love Boat and then go back to New York. And it was just really great because you felt like you were keeping your hand in TV, because that show was so popular. And then I could go and do, theater off Broadway or whatever that was kind of not in the public eye as much, but, was artistically there. So.
Fantasy Island too. You were on Fantasy Island, which was really cool. The plane.
Oh gosh. I've not ever seen this picture.
Yes.
That's the musical with David Cassidy.
Isn't that something?
That's incredible.
What was that like? Working with David and everybody.
It was really fun because it was this, I don't remember if it was a flashback or it was just the way they did it, but it was supposed to be Tin Pan Alley. And it was this big musical. He was a songwriter and I was a performer. And I remember they made, they slicked his hair back and they put him in this, period clothing. And I thought, my gosh, he looks so much like his father. It was just crazy. And of course, he was just a great actor and so much fun to work with and musical and certainly his own life. So again, just great fun. I'm kind of amazed when I hadn't thought about it until you put that picture up.
That's it. Which is wonderful. I'm glad we're bringing back a few of those memories. You, as I said, you've graced the screens, film, television, and the stages, and have done just about everything. And you're also direct, but you also had a taste of a few of the soap operas: One Life to Live, All My Children, General Hospital. There's a shot in '83 from All My Children. They are, and because you were in on it with those 3 different soap operas, people remember, all the soap fans remember your roles on those, especially General Hospital and All My Children. The scripts are so thick and the amount of shots, and it's just, if you can master being on a soap opera and how hard they work, it's pretty extraordinary, isn't it?
I think it's the hardest work on TV, bar none. It is extraordinarily intense. You learn so much dialogue in such a short period of time. And there is not a great rehearsal period. There's just like you rehearse it and then you shoot it. And I am in such awe of the actors that are on these shows. I did a couple of guest performances, like the one with All My Children. That was an amazing situation where they wanted to introduce a gay character, and it was the first time they had done that on daytime
television,
TV. And they came to me and they said, we want to get an actor who is a known actor to do this, and someone that the audience sort of identifies with and knows and likes and what have you. And I was so thrilled to have that opportunity to do some groundbreaking work on a subject that was very taboo. And it was such a gift, to be able to play that character and to, break some stereotypes and show, the audience that same living, breathing person, not something that is unusual or freakish or anything. It's just a different a different sexual
preference
and a person that has to be constantly on guard that they are not misjudged, or this was not an easy time for gay people. And
what was the response? Did people write into you? Did you receive feedback, people saying, we're happy to see you on camera, to see you on the show?
I would read this mail and cry. I mean, it was so unbelievable that it was so like a watershed for so many people. And I felt there was such a responsibility here because, it had to be done in a way, it was people, I think in the network and all, they were nervous. I think they were really nervous about it. So it was very specific, the way they wrote the character and the way they had the storyline go. And, and I just was so moved by the care they took, even though I think they were nervous. They really wanted, to put this out there. And they did a great job. I really think they did a great job. And I was, just blown away by the way the public took to it. And it moved the needle, which as an actor, if you can do that, if you can touch people in a way that changes opinions, how great is that?
Absolutely right. Yeah. Which again, it was revolutionary and first time. And you are a groundbreaker, Donna,
Well,
on many different levels.
I'm a very lucky.
These characters you've played are unique and individual, and they stand out. And the words have to be terrific on the paper, but you have the ability to take those words and make them real and leave people with a depth and a feeling and a connection to the characters. And that's something that is not only from the training, but it's an essence of who you are as a person. We're these roles that we're in, working for me in television and radio and all in broadcast, we're in the humanities. We are dealing with human feelings and connecting with people and hopefully inspiring and having them think and revel in life. And you are fantastically talented and beautiful at being able to achieve that in everything that you've touched.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, I'm flattered and blown away by that. That's so sweet and meaningful to me because that's my job. And if I can do it right, that will be the response. So, I'm so grateful. Thank you.
The pleasure is all mine. And I'm sure I'm speaking for, millions of others who have expressed that over the years too as well. One of the other things too, of the many things that you touched upon, which might be a little bit of a sprinkle of memory for people, was being involved in Rainbow, the Judy Garland story. That was something quite special too. You portrayed one of the older sisters in the television biographical film directed by Jackie Cooper, and that was back in 1978. What was it like being a part of that and telling that story?
That was, it was so great because Jackie Cooper, who directed, was Judy Garland's friend, and they grew up together at in the studio, and it was at a time where they had these icons, that started as kid actors, Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland and Jackie Cooper and Elizabeth Taylor, and I mean all of these extraordinary, as I say, iconic talents were starting, shortly after birth. They were really young kids. And so he would talk about the studio system. He would talk about, certainly within regard to Judy Garland, the life that she led. And it was a beautiful cast. Andrew McCardle played Judy, and Don Murray played the dad, and Piper Laurie was the mom, and I mean, Martin Balsam was in it. It was an extraordinary company of actors, and of course with Jackie at the helm, it was like an education in early show business. So I mean, I just ate it up. It was just such fun.
That's incredible, and to have that opportunity again to tell that story. in such a beautiful, beautiful way. You also, of course, people know you from the children's comedy series Out of This World, which was a lot of fun. And how did that opportunity come your way?
That was a really amazing, crazy, doesn't happen at all. And if it does, it's rare. I basically got a phone call from my manager saying, there's this cute series and they'd like you to do it. And they want to send you a script. And I thought, okay, where's the catch?
Right.
Do I, so what does that mean? Do I have to, swing through a hoop, or why is this so easy? It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And they sent this adorable script, which kind of it wasn't bewitched, but it was like that magical kind of thing. And it was kind of sweet and fun. And I thought, oh, this is kind of darling. And why not? It's a pilot. We'll see if it ever goes from there, and again, good people. And Maureen Flanagan, who played my daughter, we are still friends. She's a grown-up woman now, and I'm the old woman that has lunch with her.
You mean the seasoned veteran?
Yes, thank you. I like that. I may actually wear a sign.
That's what I tell everybody when they say old or whatever. Say seasoned
yes.
veteran.
Yes. Do not offer me an early bird dinner. I'm a seasoned. Yes. So anyway, it was very cute and very sweet. And Doug McClure. How do you not love Doug McClure? And that's Joe Alasky, who we lost far too soon.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. Oh, look at that. There's the whole group. Buzz Belmondo and Steve Burton, who is a very big soap star now on General Hospital, and Christina Nigra. So, great group. I was shocked that it went past a pilot. Not because it didn't deserve it. It's just that who knows where anything goes, And so it ran for four years. And during that time, I got married. I was pregnant. I had a child. So I think at one season they kept shooting it higher and higher and higher to hide the fact that I was pregnant. And one of the writers said, "Well, you'll be sitting in a chair knitting, and it'll be very big, and the line will be when the exterminators get here, have them throw this over the house." It was. They just kept trying to figure out ways to hide me from here down. So, but it was a lot of fun.
You and Lucille Ball, right?
Yeah. Oh,
right. I Love Lucy. I would imagine some of those folks too, the Carol Burnett's and the Lucys and others you've always admired. And
my idols. Idol, Carol Burnett.
One of the nicest people on the planet,
huh? Someday I am dying to just be in her company. Because she's a big reason I wanted to do this as a career. A big reason. I was glued to her show, and I just was so crazy about everything, and still am, that she did then and does now.
Have you ever had a chance to tell her that? Does she know?
No, I have not. So if you're watching,
Carol, would you like to step in now?
Dame Burnett. I mean, yeah, boy, wouldn't that be? No, and Lucille Ball, well, we're talking about the Queen here. I remember Lucy Arnaz is a friend, and I went to see her and her husband, Lawrence Luckinbill, in a play years ago. And Lucy and Gary Morton were sitting behind my husband and I. I don't know why they were not in front of us, but we were all at good seats. But anyway, at some point, she looked at me and she said, "I know who you are, and you are very, very funny." And I nearly died. I could barely speak. I just wanted to, I was so thrilled, and I don't even remember whether I was able to answer her. I was so blown away. And I think my husband, who's so fabulous, whenever I do stuff like that, he answers for me. He'll say, "Oh, you don't know what this means to her. That's why she's not speaking, because she's going to faint, or whatever." So,
That is funny.
yeah.
And yeah. And then after Out of This World, you went on to a series of roles before returning to some of the larger roles too. You made appearances on Clueless and also NYPD Blue, Paulie, Ivory Tower,
Oh my
and the
gosh.
1998 television film Dead Husbands as well, which
Oh,
people.
John Ritter. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. What was that like working on that?
Well, again,
Mm.
it was such fun. But Nicolette Sheridan and John Ritter, uh, just John, has a big piece of my heart. He was, aside from being extraordinarily talented and beloved, and this was such a quality human being. And I just adored him. He was funny and warm and terrific. And working with him, you're not going to do any better. He was just great. And that was a lot of fun. That movie was fun. We were in Toronto for several weeks, and it was just really special.
So many, like I said, Ivory Tower as well, another one. Policewoman Centerfold. Yeah.
Those were the days that they would make films out of stories that they took from the paper.
From the
when
papers.
there was the newspaper. So that was an actual true story, I think, and it was fun because I played this sort of, I think she was Southern and very conservative, which was fun for me because I don't get to play conservative Southern women all that often.
Right. I mentioned NYPD Blue too. That must have been cool to be on that, huh?
That was great.
Great series.
And I mean, I've been very, very fortunate to have worked on some really great shows with some really outstanding people.
Absolutely. And some more, even, of course, The Sopranos.
Yeah, that.
Wow.
It's funny. That's the only time I ever got tongue-tied while I was working. I was such a fan of the show. And it was almost overwhelming to meet these. It was the very last episode that I did. And it was almost overwhelming to meet people I had been so in awe of and watching for so many seasons. And it was a great experience. David Chase directed that one. And, everyone was very emotional on that because it was their last episode. And I almost felt intrusive at times because they would, kind of be sad with one another and hug and, get sort of misty-eyed that would be the last time they worked together, in that show or whatever. And just being a part of that experience was, amazing and life-changing in the sense that when you have an opportunity to do a role that you love and do it on a show that you're crazy about, that's great. But to do it on the last episode, how amazing is that to be a part of this iconic show coming to a close? That was amazing.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? You're right. Because people remember that episode vividly. You also had an opportunity to be on Grey's Anatomy too, another great series.
Recently, yeah. I've been watching it for years, and it's just such fun when you're a fan to go and work with the people you've been watching and enjoying. And I love that show, and I've been watching it, I think, since it started 175 years ago.
Right.
But somehow they're all still 30. I don't
Back in
know
the
why,
McDreamy days,
but
right?
They are. Yes, so that was great fun.
Great photo here. This is through Truth Be Told. This is Octavia Spencer and you.
Oh boy. Yeah. Now you want to talk about a powerhouse talent.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah. That's a great show. That's a wonderful show. I think it may still be on the air. If it's not, it had a good, I think, 3 or 4 seasons.
It showed just people the versatility. Also, Holiday Road Trip, and this was a John Travolta film, wasn't it?
It was Joey Travolta.
Joey.
No. I'm sorry. I'm wrong. this was not Carol of the Bells. Was Joey Travolta.
Carol of the Bells. That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
This was a fun little romp. I remember it was one of those quickie kind of, getting a call. Would you like to do this? And I read it. It was sweet. And then I went in like a minute later, and then it was gone. It was just one of those fun holiday movies, and it's always such a fun thing to be a part of those, because they're going to air them every year, and that's fun to see.
There's Carol of the Bells. Yes,
that was great. That was an interesting. Joey, again, he's family,
Travolta,
through John, and he works with this incredible school. It's his, where young people, teens into early 20s, who have either autism or special needs in some way, are trained to work in the industry, in film industry, behind the scenes. And then there are some who work as actors, who are wonderful. And this was the first film that Joey directed, with mostly the whole crew. I think 70% of the crew was from his school. And it was extraordinary, because it was such a great opportunity for people to see that nobody is really handicapped, that people, if they are given the opportunity, they will do great work, and, are completely and utterly professional, and do everything right, and have such a love for what they're doing, and there's no reason to bar anyone from working in the field they want to. If they're trained well, they should have the same opportunities. And so that was and of course it was a lovely story. It was a wonderful film. It was very sweet. And the lead, the young girl that was the lead, had a Down syndrome. So it was really a beautiful thing to be a part
inspiring movie. Right. Exactly. Something, a body of proof too.
Oh my gosh! You're really finding all of this. It's incredible.
Magical
that
stuff
was great.
here, huh?
That was great. Wonderful. Again, look at that cast. I mean, my God. Yeah, I love her. She's just fabulous. But again, there are so many amazing artists that I've had the opportunity to work with.
You've even worked with Cupcakes.
Yes. Well, put me
the Hallmark Channel, Operation Cupcake.
Yes. They could have paid me in cupcakes, actually. That would have been okay. I like
that. Was cool, huh?
Yeah, that was fun. Again, these lovely sort of family-oriented films have a real life and a great fan base. And, all of the Hallmark films have a distinctive.
You like being a part of those?
I did. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And then you took on Dr. Sharon Finkel in The Flash.
Hilarious.
That is hilarious. You are terrific in that.
That was supposed to be one gig,
right?
One episode, and everybody just sort of thought it was such a funny idea to have a shrink for superheroes who doesn't know they're superheroes, but they have weird problems. So that was a lot of fun. That was really great. I think I did 6 of those or something. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
Played Priscilla, a new girl.
With the great Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner, you can see him there, right?
Unbelievable, huh? Yeah. That was fun.
So many fabulous people are. Weren't you also in this too? Were you in Finder of Lost Loves?
Yeah, gosh, yeah. I can't even believe I've never seen these pictures. I obviously, got to get out more.
You're busy. You're so busy doing the work. That's what it is, Donna.
Yes, that was amazing. Again, look at the legendary lineup right there. I just moved that was great.
It's cool stuff when you look at it and you look back at all of it, right?
Look at those people, yeah. Fantastic.
So many incredible shows and so many incredible moments spent with all of these fabulous people. Also, too, which I think is kind of cool, you were in this? Is this Jake Speed in that as
Jake
well?
Speed, yeah, that was gosh, I think John Hurt was in that, and crazy. Yeah, that was a long time ago, but it was again a great adventure story. My participation was in I think they went to gosh, I want to say Africa. I could be wrong. So my participation was in LA. But yeah, great fun. Great fun.
Also, more recent too. I think it was last year's. Welcome to Chippendales.
Yes.
Part of that as well. Yeah.
Yes. That was actually, it's a true story. And I never knew there was such a background to the owner of that club. That was, it was a very dark and sad story. Again, wonderful production, really good people. And I loved doing it. It was all period of that time. So it was great.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Even Stevens as well, of course.
There's my baby, right?
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf, right, exactly. How did this one come about? Because people have a real affinity for that one too.
Again, just luck. Disney.
That's why you're wearing green.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And I should be telling it with an Irish accent. But they just started the Disney Channel, and Disney Channel wanted to do scripted situation comedy, kind of old school, and so I got this call, and they said, this is a lovely, family situation comedy, and it's written by people that did sitcom when you were doing Angie. And anyway, that's a great storyline there. That's me in that makeup that took 4 hours. I played it was a takeoff on It's a Wonderful Life. It was called Heck of a Hanukkah, and I was his great grandmother coming back to tell him that life was okay. And it was really fun. It was a fun.
That's incredible. How long in makeup to get to that point? How long did that take?
It took hours to get into it and to get out of it. But it was such fun. But that came up because Disney Channel was just starting out, and they wanted to do kind of an old style sitcom. So they called Old Style Sitcom Girl. It was a lot of fun.
She knows how to do it, right?
Well, and to see Shia, everybody on that, Christy Romano and Nick Spano and Shia, all three of them who played my kids, were just fabulous and talented as all hell. And Shia was, I think, 12 or 13 at the time we started that, which is kind of unbelievable. So, and he's always going to have a piece of my heart.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of people who have a piece of yours for sure. You graced the game shows too. Did you enjoy that Match Game?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. This was, again, at that time, everything was all new and exciting, and I'd never done it before, but I'd watched it. So it was so fun to be a part of something that I would just, admire from afar. So that was a lot of fun. And then look at the great people on that show. My gosh, every one of them hilarious and talented and funny. And my God, Charles Nelson Riley, and the list goes on. It's just crazy.
Absolutely. When you look at it too, I want to make mention with Angie. Playing that role garnered you a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in a Comedy Series and a People's Choice Award nomination for Favorite Female Performer on a New Television Program.
It's amazing. I have them right in my office here. It's just, yes, I'm very proud of that.
Isn't that great when that happens? It's not why you do the work, but it's sort of the gravy that comes along with it all.
Very well put. Yeah.
Yeah. You also appeared in the film One Song Hero alongside Nicole Sullivan, and then you took a little break from acting, but did appear 2006 episode of Crossing Jordan,
Mhm.
and which I think is really something quite special. And also, people may remember 2023, you were in a really terrific, well, that Smash game. Yeah. Great memories. You could see that, I think, on Antenna TV or Game Show Network.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
The Capital One commercial with John Travolta, and he was Santa Claus, and he walks in, and you're in the shop, and where have you been? And that little smile
It
you
was
had when you, that was
amazing.
great.
It was this great sort of, homage to Saturday Night Fever. And it was such fun to be back on set with John again. We've stayed in touch, and he's just the dearest person in the world. And so that was a really wonderful surprise. It just sort of came up, and I was thrilled to be a part of it. And I was sworn to secrecy, so I couldn't really tell anybody until it aired. And it was such fun to watch the reaction. So that was really great.
Couple of folks were asking too, and they're all welcoming you. Do you stay in touch with John Travolta? Do you stay in touch with other cast members from Saturday Night Fever, of course, from Angie, from their various shows and productions? Is there, those phone calls, those emails, those texts?
Yeah, most of the time, you kind of you'll run into people, so you'll see them. And then there are those occasions that you actually become friends with people and you have them in your lives sort of forever. And so I'm very lucky that way. I have a lot of people from Angie that I'm, still in my life. And Saturday Night Fever, I'm still friends with obviously John and Paul Pape and Joe Kelly, and I see Karen Gorney from time to time. And it's just always a lovely reunion. It's really terrific. And I think it's really interesting that you see people, sporadically. And so there's that moment where it's like no time has passed and you realize how special it is,
That's the cool thing, right?
Yeah.
And when you have those memories and you still stay connected, it's a beautiful thing. I want to throw in for everybody, because some of the comments they're saying, my God, she's been a busy, busy lady. She was on Murder, She Wrote. She was in Mr. Belvedere. She was on an episode of Hotel, Trapper John M.D., Nash Bridges.
Gosh.
Like I said, if you have your television on, chances are, you'll see her. And then some of these iconic shows and re-airs. She was in the TV movie Human Feelings as well.
Oh my gosh, with Billy Crystal.
Right?
Oh
what was that like?
We were, Billy was doing Soap, I think, at the time, or he had just finished it. And, it was Nancy Walker. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just amazing to see people at various points in their own journey. And he is, what can you say about Billy Crystal that is not extraordinary?
He's marvelous, like he used to do with Fernando Lamas.
Well, you know what? There is a funny moment that when he was telling me, I remember he used to do this thing in his act, his club act, where he said, "Can you dig it? I knew that you could." And John said that in the film, Saturday Night Fever. I think he just tossed it in there because he loved the line from Billy. And then Billy said, and then everybody thought I stole it from the movie, which was pretty funny. It's the other way around.
Right. It's reversed.
Yeah.
I want to let the viewers know who are having a ball listening to us reminisce, but also hear some of the cool things that you are working on. I do want to mention too, when you were Dr. Lynn Carson, All My Children, you won a media award from the AGLA Alliance, which is a beautiful thing. In addition to some of those other shows we talked about on film, TV, and stage, The Sopranos, New Girl, Truth Be Told, Welcome to Chippendale, you Grey's Anatomy, but also some feature films too, Partners, in addition to Carol of the Bells, which we talked about, Orange Sherbet, and your New York and LA and regional stage credits. Again, she's everywhere, folks. Love Letters, Rest in Pieces, Isn't It Romantic, Grease, Guys and Dolls, Promises, Promises, and Melvin Van Peebles' production of Body Bags. And you even have had your own successful cabaret act that you performed at in New York, and also in East Hampton's John Drew Theater, LA's Cannon Theater. You enjoy all of that, the regional theaters, the cabaret work?
Yeah, live theater is great, and the cabaret act I did was such fun. I started in musical theater and all, and so it gave me a chance to do some patter, some comedic stuff that way, and talk to the audience and then sing. So that was great. That was a lot of fun. And for years I've been talking about doing a new one. So we'll see.
Keep us posted on that,
Yeah.
Donna. I know a lot of people would love to hear more about that. That's fantastic. You also, having this great respect. One of the beautiful things as I have followed and have admired you and have admired the way you've handled yourself in your career, the way you've responded to and been very cognizant of the fans and people who support you and what you do all these years. You've had great respect for the craft of acting and have a love of teaching, and you've actually been a guest instructor at your alma mater, the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, as well as UCLA, the Lee Strasberg Institute, AMDA, and the Beverly Hills Playhouse as well. Do you love that, to teach and inspire others who are looking at you and your body of work and seeing what you have done in your career and your life, Donna?
It's like passing the torch in a way. I feel like I've had such good training, and it's paid off. Obviously, I'm going to try and move this so I don't have sun in my. Is that better?
Looks terrific.
Oh gosh, it's coming through my blinds here. So the thing for me, and I'm very old school. I'm all about the craft, and I think, no matter what you end up doing, whether you do film or TV or theater or, whatever, if you're going to do it, be cognizant of knowing what you're doing and be trained. So it helps you, obviously, and it helps the audience appreciate it more. So, and I get a huge thrill out of watching young actors achieve the next leap that they're going to make as artists. And I just love being in that world. And each time I've done it, I find myself doing it for a little bit longer each time, because it's very hard for me to pull back and abandon people that I feel now very close to, because it's their journey to start working. So that's why I do it. I get as much out of it as they do, I think. And I really do believe that the responsibility is to be a craftsman at whatever art you work on. And so that's my participation in passing it on, in hopefully teaching a young actor the foundation that they will need to have a great career.
Is there anything, I know you're directing as well, as you have a love of that. Is there anything you haven't done that is still on the radar? Is there a memoir?
I just don't know how to do that. I can't be taller just because I want to be. But is there anything on the radar? It's just sky's the limit, Is
there a memoir in the offing?
What's that?
Is there a memoir in the offing?
Oh, somebody said that to me recently about writing a book, and I thought there's some kind of thing for me. If I were to go there at some point, it wouldn't be yet, because I really feel like other things are happening, and I don't want to do the past. I want to stay with what's coming in the future, which is not to say that a book wouldn't be brilliant and fabulous at some point, you know, but not yet.
The directing is something that's near and dear to your heart too, right? People know you as an iconic film and television actress, but you've added in the directorial part.
I did when I actually, it was shortly after Out of This World, I think. I got very interested in multi-camera direction and all of that, and I did I did a Harry and the Hendersons, which, remember that show with the fabulous Bruce Davis, is just great. And then I directed a bunch of the Even Stevens and Raven. That's So Raven with
sure,
Darling Raven Simone.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I was lucky. Somebody said you can give her a shot, but I learned how to do it. You know, I wasn't just there, you know, relying on. I wasn't great the first one, but I was very good by the last one. You know, so.
So you were, when you were on these sets and around all these people, you were doing what you had to do, but you were watching keenly and soaking it all in, how the process happens, which I think is a terrific thing to do.
Yeah, but you know, it interests me. I'm doing it because you know, I don't know if it's so much of a conscious choice at first. I think you kind of gravitate to things, and I love it. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I don't know where it will go. I haven't done it for a while. We'll see.
You stay tuned, right? I just want to show you some of the wonderful things that some of the viewers are saying, and other exciting comments coming in from around the world. Maureen is in Arizona. She says, welcome to Lovity Hall. You're now one of the Jim Master Show Lovities. She was hoping that, right? You know, there's Oscars, Emmys, Tonys, Grammys, Peabodys, all these great awards. But when you're a Lovity on the Jim Masters Show, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
I'm going to clear a shelf. I want a Lovity.
We're going to get a plaque out to you from one New Yorker to the next, right?
That's it.
A real Lovity. Some fabulous things they're saying here. This is Psychic Godfather. It says Donna's comedic timing is a hoot. Peggy and Donna together. Hysterical. Made me hysterical. I love that. This is really nice, these comments coming in here.
How lovely. Thank you.
Robert Hayes and Donna were an iconic couple. She still looks amazing.
Oh, gosh.
Let's see. Funny how as soon as Donna finishes a blockbuster movie with Saturday Night Fever, Robert Hayes is working on his major film, Airplane.
He was doing that while we were doing. Yeah, Angie. He was running back and forth to two different sound stages.
Kathleen Walker in New York City says, you are the perfect Lovity. She's in New York. She's in Queens. Yeah, you know that neighborhood, right? Some wonderful comments. Just, they're all excited. Also adds in here, love Donna, natural comic. Thank you very much for that comment as well. Chris is watching in Ireland. Good evening. Thank you. Yeah, in Ireland, which is kind of exciting as well.
There's a place that's on my bucket list.
Well, you're dressed for it. You're ready to.
I can just go right now, right over there.
Absolutely, and have some good old Irish crack. I loved watching Out of This World. Thank you for sharing that as well. What was it like working with John Travolta? Of course.
It was incredibly great.
Yeah. Great question. Let's see. A couple of other things here. People have written. Let's see. Donna and I met off Broadway. She was doing a play, The Body Bags. Donna was and is great.
Oh, lovely. I have my glasses. I can't see. I'm on a little.
It's a tiny little screen. If she is a professional and she's a trooper, if you only knew what she had to go through to make this happen. Her camera is sitting on her dog right now.
I'm telling you. And if the dog leaves, we're in trouble.
We are in trouble. somebody asked, and I think that was a rumor of sorts. I don't know. Did you have to gain 40 pounds for the role? And I don't know if that's Saturday Night Fever
You know,
or what.
I'll tell you, it's really hilarious. I don't know
From
how
Maria.
that ever happened.
Got out there.
I think somebody after that film said something about, it was at some event, and I don't know whether it was some interviewer or paparazzi or what, and they said, gee, you look so great. You look 40 pounds thinner than you did. And I started laughing, and I said, well, of course I am, or something like that. And this happened. So for years I've been saying that's not the case. So there was no gaining weight for that part. It was just this comment that somehow, because I was at an event for Saturday Night Fever, somehow got twisted
Sort of
or whatever.
added to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens as a story's told. It changes as time goes on. Things get subtracted, things get added. Question here. Let's see. Cullen Fields was asking. He's in New York as well. Who is the voice of Troy, the talking crystal, in Out of This World?
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Wow. Your question is answered, Cullen Fields. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, Merlin in Canada was asking if you've done Hallmark movies, and yes, and you enjoy that. And maybe more to come of that too, right? If,
This is my phone.
Kathleen in New York City says, you still look wonderful, Donna. What an amazing career you've had and continue to have. Merlin in Canada says, busy girl. Absolutely. We just really touched on the surface of what she's done in this incredible career of hers and continues to do as well. Maria wanted to know, I guess it's the scene at the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. She had heard if Mr. Travolta, if John couldn't watch you film that scene. Was it emotional, or was it?
You're talking about the rape scene in the back seat. That would make sense. Yeah, it was intense. The only people that were there when they filmed that, and that wasn't actually filmed on the bridge, that was actually filmed in a separate little sort of makeshift studio. And the only people that were there were people that had to be either the crew or the actors involved. They were very protective. So yeah, I mean, there were some moments that were difficult.
Absolutely, left an indelible mark on people's minds. Merlin wanted to say, in Canada, Ontario, you're such a sweet person. It's hard not to want to be friends with you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
That's
your house Sunday. You cook.
That's how you cook. That's it. Second Godfather says, Donna, you are a gift to theater, and all of us thespians love you. Wonderful evening. A great surprise to catch you live, like our old Waldorf Astoria Peacock. All days dinner talks. Very nice of you to say that as well. If you were not acting, what was plan B? What would the other thing be? Merlin asks that in Canada.
You know, the funny thing is there was never a plan B. I honestly can tell you, I never even thought about anything else. If I were to have a second thing I would have been gravitating to, it probably would have been being a veterinarian or something. I love animals. But I was driven to do this. It was a calling.
Absolutely right. Yeah. And beautiful. Just want to show you too that Maria, who was a big fan of yours, she was excited you're coming on. She was posting on our social media. She goes, Ms. Pescow, you have extraordinary talent with such grace and charm and beautiful debut. You inspire me to be a better me. I remain in awe of you. Bless you.
Well, my gosh, thank you so much. I'm
sure you've heard that.
That's beautiful.
Thank you for that, Maria. Maureen in Arizona, I just knew this was going to be a fabulous conversation. I knew you have been on many shows, Donna, but I didn't realize how many. just let me say, wow, you are amazing from
Oh,
Marina,
thank
Arizona.
you. Thank you.
Really wonderful. You know, when you get a chance to go back down memory lane a little
I
bit.
know you're bringing me back to things I haven't thought about in years. It's crazy.
Anything that's coming up that you're excited about, that you're working on, and, you know, as far as whatever you're able to share, that things that you want to do or that are in development?
There's a possibility. There's a one-woman show that I'm looking into. We'll see. And I really think I just keep moving forward, and it's kind of like that man plans, God laughs. You know, I don't try and get too locked into trying to go somewhere and leaving everything else out. I just sort of keep letting it come my way, and luckily it's worked so far. So there are things, that I think about doing, and I'm kind of working on them. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be whatever I do. It's going to be something that's heartfelt, and my next chapter.
I love that. Everybody, and I have been too, everybody's been admiring the fabulous room that you're in with all these photos on the
Thank
walls.
you. I wish I could turn this around, because there's some really cool things, but I'm such an idiot technically.
You don't want to wake up the dog.
As you well know by now. So yes. So
no. It's the other thing too that I think is really cool. I think I've heard you say once, and I've asked this of others who are in this profession, and you're very big on this because you really, really love the craft. If somebody is, I think one of our guests said, if somebody is thinking about pursuing these careers, especially acting, or anything in life, you really have to be all in 110%. If you want to be an actor or a singer, performer, entertainer, whatever it may be, but the other half of you wants to be an accountant, more than likely you should go with the accountant route. One of our actress guests had said, she said, I would say go with the accountant if you're half and half, because what it's going to take, blood, sweat, and tears, time, patience, creativity, all of it requires all of you to dive in, and you're big on that.
I always say to people who are considering this, journey, it can't be a want, and it can't be it has to be a need. It has to be, if you don't do this, you will not feel complete in your life. If you don't do this, if you don't at least try, or you don't at least explore the possibility, you will feel that you didn't do the one thing that would have meant the most to you. It has to be that big. You have to be willing to put up with a very tough road, because the payoff is worth it. And in a funny way, you can ask any actor how many jobs they didn't get before they got one, and you got to keep going. So you have to have that kind of mindset. That's why I say you have to need it in your life more so than want it.
I like that. You have to need it more than want it. That is beautiful.
It's like oxygen.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. When you look at the body of work thus far, which is a continuing and ever expanding body of work, do you have a few things that are your personal favorites that you have done in your career? I know it's a tough question because every project is almost like a baby, like a child, but are there a few that are standouts for Donna herself? The viewers, the fans have theirs. Are there a few that are personally yours?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think obviously Saturday Night Fever, that was not just, the greatest role. It was, I'm sorry, I'm actually losing power here. Oh my gosh. It was the greatest role, and it touched people. So there's always going to be that, I think, as the lead. There's been a few plays I've loved. I did a play called Isn't It Romantic that Wendy Wasserstein wrote that I just loved so much. And I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to pick. I think, I've just been really, really blessed. And and I'm so thrilled to be able to talk about it and to touch people, and your lovely comments, and thank you.
Donna, thank you for joining us here on the Jim Masters Show. Really an epic conversation. You are everything that people would have hoped, and I certainly hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you.
I absolutely have loved it, and all of our fun prior to the show, trying to make it all work.
And I hope the show met whatever expectations you might have had as well, Donna.
I've had a ball, and I'm so thrilled to talk to you, because I've really been a fan of your show. So I'm really glad to be part of it now. And lovity.
Lovity. You are a lovity.
All the way.
Well, the advice you get from parents and grandparents. My dad said when I was 7, out on Long Island, said, Jimmy, because I'm the 5th James, Jimmy, whenever anybody says something kind or nice to you, always thank them. And then after you thank them, ask them to please put those words in writing and address it management. That's my Irish dad from Astoria.
I love that.
Hails from Astoria.
I had a ball, and I really loved being here.
We will keep the porch light on for you, Donna. You are extraordinary. Thanks for all of the time, your generous time, and all of the years of incredible performances. And we look forward to more from you. Let's stay in touch. And as I say, we'll keep the porch light on for you. You're welcome back anytime.
I'll be back soon.
I'll be back. Thank you, Donna. You be well.
You too.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
The incomparable Donna Pescow here on the Jim Masters Show live series. What a trooper, too. I tell you, she's amazing. And we loved having her here. I know you guys did, too. And all the great comments. We thank you for all these great comments and everything that you've been sharing. Feel free as well to give this episode a like on our YouTube channel. We would love it if you give this episode a like and leave a comment for us. Want to let you know as well, if you love the artists, well, we have a lot of great people who have been here. Linda Pearl and Patrick Duffy have been guests on our show as well. You can see that episode archived on our YouTube channel. Marion Ross, Mrs. C from Happy Days, did an exclusive conversation with me here on the Jim Masters Show. You can see that episode as well. And Don Most was here with us on the Jim Masters Show. Of course, you guys know that Lucy Arnaz and Larry Luckenbill are dear friends of ours, and they've been here on our show. Lucy's been with us several times. And speaking of the game shows, gang, boy, do we have an amazing show for you coming up tomorrow. If you love the game shows, we're going to be celebrating 50 years of the iconic television game show, Wheel of Fortune. And a good friend of our show, Wesley Hyatt, pop culture writer, is going to be here. He's got a new book, too, spanning 50 years of spinning the wheel. We're going to be talking about all of that and so much more coming up on our next episode of the Jim Masters Show live series. But what an iconic conversation with truly an American treasure, somebody who has graced, again, the screens, television, film, and stages for so many years, again, starting with Saturday Night Fever, but of course other things before that. But just really hearing her tell her story, some things behind the scenes of what it was like in that role, how she got the role of Annette on Saturday Night Fever, what it was like working with John Travolta and the cast, and really with everybody. And she really is an iconic figure in all of television, film, and stage. And also Gary Marshall, the iconic Gary Marshall, created some of the great television shows of our time, giving her an opportunity to come out to California and star in the epic series Angie with Robert Hayes. And they are each other's godparents for their children. Is that not cool? And working with Deborah Lee and Doris Roberts and Robert and everybody. And again, the soap operas, General Hospital, One Life to Live. There she was in 1983 in All My Children, and that iconic role. And of course, they are in Spelling Productions several times. She mentioned on The Love Boat and Fantasy Island as well, and making appearances on the game shows. Boy, you know, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series with some of your favorite stars from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, sports, comedy, culinary arts, life in general. And you can see them all archived on our YouTube channel. If you missed this episode and you want to see it again in its entirety, maybe you missed parts of it, or you just joined us now because we do broadcast live, well, we say thank you to everybody watching live, and we say thank you to everybody who's watching this episode later on in the archives. But check out some of the past episodes. What a very, very special person. I thoroughly enjoyed not having an interview with Donna, having a real good, free-flowing, non-scripted, unscripted conversation with her. And we connected on so many different levels, and she was very excited to be a guest on our show. We've been chatting for several days about it, putting it all together. We've been chatting for months, and we wanted to have the right day and the right time when I was available, when she was available, to put it all together so we could put a great show together for you. And we sure did, and I'm so glad we did. And if you enjoyed it, again, give this episode and all the episodes you enjoy, if you want to help our show grow and reach more people around the world. We reach millions, but if you want to help us reach more, you can do that by subscribing to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. And that's where all the shows are. Liking this episode, giving it there's a little thumbs up icon there, giving it a hearty like, sharing this episode on your social media, and leaving a comment for us as well right underneath this episode. Even if you did it in our chat room, if you can leave a comment underneath the episode on the YouTube channel, that we love. We see those, we're interactive, and we appreciate it. And it helps us grow and reach more people around the world. So if you want to help our show and all these great episodes, that's how you can do it. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And to all those that are doing that and that have done that and continue to do it, we say thank you so very much here at the Jim Masters Show Live series. One more time, thanking the extraordinary Donna Pescow for joining us here on the show. Was that not really special? I'm sure there's some great memories that it triggered for you. It triggered several memories for her too. We were pulling up some great vintage material that she hadn't seen in many years. So I was so happy we were able to do that, because she's really a delight, a real delight to chat with. You guys are too. We love having you here. Our lovely family watching all around the world. And it was my pleasure to try to sprinkle some of your comments on the screen for Donna to see and for Donna to revel in and to appreciate. So yeah, this was wonderful. And just want to sprinkle in a few of these as well. Kathleen Walker in New York City. Thank you with that beautiful Irish green. She just did a super chat, which is when the show is live in the chat room. There's super chat, super emoji, super stickers. Thank you so very much. These are real diehard fans of JMS, the Jim Masters Show. She said, you are amazing, Donna. So enjoyed this conversation. It's a pleasure hearing all about you and your career. God bless you. Thank you, Kathleen, and for your generosity and support of the Jim Masters Show Live series. We love you for that as well. And everybody who's been leaving all these wonderful comments all around. Jean watching in Sweden, and Maureen, and Shyman99. Welcome to the show. Anybody that's joined us for the first time on this episode, come see us again. Go back in the archives and check out these episodes. They are iconic. Again, we do conversations here, not just the stale, typical interview. Donna, always the inspiration. Absolutely Psychic Godfather. Psychic Godfather, come see us again. And Shyman99 says, such a wonderful show. Thank you, Jim and Donna. My pleasure, and Donna's as well. Jane in Sweden saying, this has been an awesome show. Thanks, Donna, for being here tonight. and awesome to hear about your career. Thanks, Jim. And Maria, I know, Maria, you've been very excited about this. You've been on our social media. You can find us on social media at Jim Masters TV on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check those out and like and follow and all the rest. Thank you so much, Mr. Masters and Ms. Pescow. Thrilled I could be here. We thank you for being here, and come see us again. It was a pleasure having you here. And Psychic Godfather, thumbs up from Psychic Godfather. Jim, a great interview with the Queen. Donna, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Merlin in Canada. Donna, are we going to fade to black? She did. Eventually she will. She's still down in the queue window. She can see these comments as well. And her originally she was using her computer, but it was not cooperating with the video, so she switched to her phone. She's a real trooper, a real pro, but the phone was just about ready to give way, the battery. So I said, good time that was our cue to neatly wrap and give her a chance to say some nice comments as well, which she certainly has done throughout the entire broadcast. Thank you very much as well. Psychic Godfather says, thank you, Jim. I'll be back. You're my #1 podcast. Hey, Psychic Godfather, I'm going to sleep well tonight knowing that. Thank you so very much. I really, really appreciate that. Kind of you to share those words. And I love when we get all the feedback from our viewers. I love the contact with the guests, and I love the feedback and connection with our valuable viewers. That's you and you and you and you and everybody watching around the world in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes of our series we've done thus far and counting. Jim, you are simply the best host ever. Thank you for always bringing your A game at each and every episode. Tight, lovely hugs right back at you as well. We thank you very, very much. And your first chat was a dream come true. Donna was simply enchanting. Thank you very much. Don't let it be your last chat. Come see us again. And Sherry Larson in Kansas. Thank you, Jim. That was wonderful. And good night to all you as well. Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. Remember, Jimmy Durante used to say those words. All right, gang. Again, come see us again. Check out some of our past episodes. Amazing guests who've been here. Many, many, many more to come. Again, tomorrow we're celebrating 50 years of Wheel of Fortune. That's going to be a hoot, and so much more. I want to let you know, John Provost, who starred on the series Lassie, he's going to be here on our show for a full episode, and a lot of other surprises we've got coming up. We're working hard, very hard behind the scenes to give you the best we can here at the Jim Masters Show. We love you all. Take care of one another. Take care of yourself and love one another. And don't forget to love yourself and share that energy with the world. We're going to keep in touch with Donna, and we'll keep you abreast of other cool things that she's working on. And so she'll be back with us. And thank you for joining us here on the Jim Masters Show live series. Real pleasure to have you here. For all of us here, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, we'll be right here waiting for you. Come see us again. Be well. Love having you here. Take care and cheers.